to get started. Welcome to the Sherwood City Council meeting, the Monday, February 6th. We're going to start by sitting with the pledge of allegiance, followed by pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering us all here tonight and getting us here safely. I pray that you watch over our service department, fire department, police department, residents of Kirtland, and all others that are in attendance here and out in the city. We thank you for all that you've done for our community. We praise you and thank you. In our Lord's name, amen.
Mr. Hamer,
Here.
Mr. Lowry,
Here.
Mr. Rupel,
Here.
Mr. Scholes,
Here.
Mr. Smolik,
Here.
Mr. Ziegler,
Here.
Mr. Fenstermaker.
Here. All right, thank you. Moving on, I think I'm going to turn it over to you, Chief McAllister.
See if this will work here. All right, well, thank you everybody for coming out and supporting this great opportunity here and for our police department. I kind of put a few words together. Some are borrowed, some are mine. And I just kind of wanted to start out with a quote from Sir Winston Churchill. To every man there comes in his lifetime that special moment when he is figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered a choice to do a very special thing, unique to him and fitted for his talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds him unprepared or unqualified for the work which will be his finest hour. Law enforcement's a calling that each of us takes very seriously, and leadership in law enforcement even carries a heavier gravity with it when you're stepping up to help people through difficult decisions, to be a rock when somebody's having a hard time. And I think that this passage from The Nobility of Policing probably says it better than I ever could. Every officer is a leader, and a leader always represents hope. Police officers are both blessed and cursed to see more of life in a year than most people will see in a lifetime. The challenge and uncertainty of policing requires a discipline of constant readiness. As a peaceful warrior, and I would add guardian, you must always be prepared mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually for those moments when you are tapped on the shoulder and thrust into circumstances that are beyond imagination. I was looking at an article which I gave to all my sergeants, and it was by an author, Walter Bach, who wrote a leadership book for newly appointed sergeants. There were several things which really pointed out to me, and I just want to cover those as you step into this position. And these points are from my heart. I couldn't have said these any better. A great sergeant shows up a lot. You're there for your people, you're there for the community, and you always make a point to put people before yourself. And that's what we expect out of our leaders. Great sergeants rehearse mentally. There's many things that we're going to get into, and I know you do this, and you put a lot of effort into thinking beyond what could happen. That way, when the moment of truth occurs, you're ready to make decisions and act. Great sergeants critique their own performance. We don't get better unless we think about how we do things and why we do things, and make efforts to make ourselves better in everything that we do. Great sergeants provide great working environments. I know you'll do that. Your people respect you, the department loves you, and you're going to be great. Great sergeants are consistent, fair, clear, and set reasonable expectations. And great sergeants show courage. There was a question I asked during the interview process which put a lot of people kind of on the spot. And that question was, if you were asked to give an order from the chief, how would you convey it to officers if you didn't support it? Now, the answer I wanted isn't the answer I got from anybody. And I'm giving this answer away because I think it's very important that we all know what my expectations are of you as officers and where I feel like we stand in the organization. The answer I wanted was, if you felt that I was doing or saying something that wouldn't be supported, I would want you to come into my office, sit down with me, and have an open and honest conversation. That way we could figure out if it was something that we should move forward on or not. But with that being said, we're here for Michael Martin tonight, and he's been a member of the Kirtland Police Department since 2014. He has an associate's in criminal justice from Lakeland Community College. Michael is a former Officer of the Year and is a member of the Lake County Accident Investigation Unit. He is a recipient of multiple letters of commendation within the department. And probably most importantly, he's a committed father and husband. Michael, if you can come up here, please.
All right. Raise your right hand, please. This is the oath of office for Sergeant here in the city of Kirtland. And what I'll say real quickly is, you know, I've got to know Michael over the last, I guess, 7 years now since I've been involved with city government. And I can tell you that, you know, not only does he bring kind of the professionalism that I've noticed from the very beginning out of Michael, and respect, and it's been so easy to tell that he is a true and dedicated officer, committed to the profession that he has enrolled himself in. So thank you for everything you do. It was great to sit down in that interview with you and hear your answers to those questions that the chief had helped develop, and did a great job. And I know we get a ton of honesty and integrity out of you. So with that, we're going to go ahead with the oath of office. Repeat after me. I, Michael Martin, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
That I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio, the Charter, the ordinances and resolutions of the City of Kirtland,
the ordinances and resolutions of the City of Kirtland,
and that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
honestly, and impartially discharge my duties as sergeant
and honestly discharge my duties as sergeant
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, Mayor, you gotta kiss the baby right there.
One thing I forgot is to thank the chief for the process that he ran to get to where we are at today. So thank you, Chief McAllister, for a very fair and balanced approach to get where we're at today. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I think we're moving on to Chief Hutton. We have another presentation tonight.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not sure if all of council knows, but on January 28th, Captain Doug Bodie was a firefighter for 35 years for the Kirtland Fire Department, retired. Doug has been one of my closest confidants on the department. You always talk about those leaders. Chief McAllister talked about leader, like Sergeant Martin moving up. Doug is one of those leaders that I never had to worry about him not having my back, not having the best interests of the Kirtland Fire Department at the forefront. He took care of so many things that did not have to come to the chief level, and I can't thank Doug enough for all those things that he's done. 35 years of dedicated service. He was the guy that we could always count on. We knew when it was the worst day for anybody out there, when Captain Bodie showed up, he was the guy, and he always got things done. As far as firefighters, I can't say enough about him. I've been around a long, long time, and Captain Bodie is probably the best firefighter I've ever seen in this county. All the guys that have had a chance to work with him got to see him in action. Again, whatever it was, if it's a tech rescue, if it's a car upside down, a water rescue, he's always the guy you wanted. So, Doug, thank you very much. And Mayor Potter, would you please do the honors?
Thank you, Chief Hutton. So, first of all, thank you for your many, many, many years of service here in the city of Kirtland. As the chief stated, and I've only, not that I've seen you in action, but I've always heard about you being the guy that everyone can count on. So thank you for that long, long story history here in Kirtland and your commitment to this department. So nothing more from me, I guess a little bit more from me. A proclamation here from the city of Kirtland from the mayor's office. Whereas on Wednesday, January 18th, 2023, Captain Douglas A. Bodie worked his final shift for the Kirtland Fire Department and retired on January 28th, 2023, after 35 years of dedicated service. As Doug begins a new chapter in his life, we pause to recognize a lifetime of contributions that will forever be his legacy to the fire department and the community. And whereas Doug began his career as a volunteer fire EMT for the city of Kirtland in 1988. Doug was hired full-time in 1993, promoted to lieutenant in 1996, and later transitioned to his current position of captain. And whereas Doug served as the department training officer for several years, sharing his knowledge and expertise with the next generation of firefighters. Many area firefighters trained under Captain Bodie's leadership have gone on to very successful careers. In fact, several area fire chiefs were trained by Captain Bodie. And whereas, aside from responding to thousands of fire and EMS calls throughout Kirtland and surrounding communities, Captain Bodie assisted in several high-priority incidents in Kirtland history, such as the Kirtland Call killings in 1989, the Great Snowstorm of 1996, and the flood of 2006, just to name a few. And whereas, whether a structure fire, vehicle extraction, rope rescue, or any other extremely difficult task, Captain Bodie was always the go-to officer in Lake County to get the job done. His skills were appreciated by firefighters, incident commanders, and fire chiefs countywide. And whereas Captain Bodie and his crew, when Captain Bodie and his crew showed up, he rest assured that the emergency was over, the situation is handled, and crews will be safely returning to their cities soon. And whereas Captain Bodie has demonstrated leadership, professionalism, and integrity throughout his career, he has led by example, and he has set the bar high for those who follow. Doug has given his time and his talents to the improvement of the Kirtland Fire Department and the safety of the city of Kirtland. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Kevin F. Potter, Mayor of the City of Kirtland, Lake County, Ohio, do hereby congratulate Captain Douglas Bodie on his retirement and urge all of Kirtland citizens to join with me in acknowledging his legacy of dedicated service within the community.
Well, I only have a few things to say. No, I'm kidding, like Clark Griswold. I just want to throw it back on Chief Hutton. It's been a pleasure working with him for all these years. He talked about having his back. Well, he used to have my front. Anytime we'd go to a mutual aid call, he's up at command lobbying whoever's in charge. Just let Captain Bodie go in there. Just let him get in there. And finally, they'd let me get in there. It's like, thank you. And it's funny. He always was like, well, we sit in the car for command and we'd all this. I wasn't really good at that. I like to get in there, and I enjoyed it. And thank you very much. It was a pleasure, an honor to work for Kirtland.
Those of you, those of you that are here for the ceremony, feel free to step out and maybe somebody close the doors behind them and take your pictures. And I mean, you're more than welcome to stay for the meeting. Don't get me wrong, but it might be a little bit boring.
Yeah, I'll give you guys a few minutes. I know we have some riveting issues and accounting coming up in terms of, I'm sure all you would like to stay for, but we'll pause the meeting for a couple minutes here. So.
Oh, Michael, gotta sign this real quick.
Whereas.
Who did it?
Thanks again. Great job. Thank you.
Boy, so only one person loves us on it. This is the part.
Well, I'm sure you're here very excited to hear about, closing out some of the old contracts we had for the road projects and such. So I'm glad you stayed. Up next, though, would be Mr. Fernaro.
Good evening, everybody. I have no formal report, just to update you that we are up to 25 snow events this year. That puts us on course with last year. Crews are out work ditching. We're getting ahead on our ditching for spring. And that completes my report. We're working on budget. We're looking at equipment, our capital. We're starting to look into drainage and some road projects. So we've been busy with all that. That completes my report.
I'm sorry I did go out of order. I forgot about the minutes from the January 18th, 2023 work session. So I guess I'm looking for a motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Lowry, seconded by Councilman Smolik. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Rupel?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
All right, moving on to the minutes of the January 18th, 2023 council meeting. Again, looking for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Smolik, seconded by Councilman Lowry. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Rupel?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. I think Mr. Fernaro was finishing his report. Are there any questions for him? All right. Thank you. Mr. Courtney?
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Real quick, Resolution 22R.
And I'm sorry, you're just going to have to talk into the microphone a little louder.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, they are.
Hello? Hello?
Testing, testing.
Is that better?
Testing, testing.
That's better.
Well, we do have that, there is legislation.
Okay, thank you. Resolution 23R4 is on tonight's agenda. That closes out the 2022 streets contract with Barbicas. We'd be looking to have that passed tonight, if possible. Old Town sewer improvements, bid tabulations, contractors' bids were checked, tabulated, contractor references were checked. Recommendation letter went to the county to award to Shivers Construction out of Fairview, Pennsylvania. The amount of their bid was $951,683. That recommendation letter went to the county on the 23rd of January. I have not heard when the commissioners plan to award that contract yet. Stormwater projects, Joe and I are trying to schedule a pre-construction meeting for Fox Hill with Grade Line. We'll let everyone know when that's going to happen. The Parkwood area drainage improvements. I emailed out the revised concept plan from Davie Resource Group after the last meeting. If there are any questions on that, I'll be happy to take them now.
Do you happen to have a copy of the plans outside of the email you sent the council?
The plans? Yeah, the concept plan is in what I emailed.
And I guess a hard copy, I'm sorry. You have a hard copy with you?
I do have a hard copy.
Okay, all right, I'll catch you after the meeting.
Okay. That concludes my report. Any other questions?
With respect to the closeout, what was the change in what's the change in the cost, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
1 second.
I was trying to look at this spreadsheet and
$200 and some odd $1,000 reduction in cost, so.
Yeah, the original awarded contract was $1,299,571, and the job came in at $1,033,454.15.
I think it's just nice to hear that number, so. Exactly.
Yes.
All right, any other questions?
Yeah, Doug, was it a change of scope, or was the estimate
Initially,
higher? A lot of,
that first change order listed on the final change order. So the net cost change resulting from prior change orders was $18,774. That was change order 1, where we worked with Barbicas, revised the scope a little bit, and brought some of those costs down. The remainder is we didn't get into contingency dollars, and we didn't do as much full depth repair as we anticipated.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Chief McAllister, did you have anything else tonight?
No, I don't have anything else, but I'm open for any questions if you have something.
Chief, I believe there's a congratulations to you and your team. Recently, some form of a accommodation for some work you guys did with American Automobile Association, I believe.
Oh, the AAA award? Yeah, we were given the Platinum Award for one of the safest cities, given the work that we're doing with our traffic control measures for initiatives that we have out in the community, trying to slow people down and enforce OVIs and other things of that nature. It's a cumulative look at everything that an agency does to try to really keep people safe out on the roads.
And there weren't that many divisions or departments that got that, so congratulations to you and your team. Good job.
Okay, I guess then we're moving on to Mr. Lalo.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I don't have too much to offer today. Over the last few weeks, we've been working on some drainage issues. There's, I think, something coming down the pipe on opioid litigation, where there's another case that we could opt into to participate in the settlement, whether it's a couple $1,000 or 20 or 30,000. I don't know yet. I'm gonna look into it a little bit more, but you could expect to potentially see that on the next agenda. And I think on the next agenda, there's another agreement that Mr. Fornaro sent over to me for the community center and the construction of restrooms. So just, again, expect that at the next meeting as well. Aside from that, I don't have any other questions, any other comments, unless you have questions for me.
Questions?
Mr. Lally, I just wanted to follow up with the HOA if you got a chance to.
Yes. So what happens is if the HOA dissolves and there's something that needs to be done that was originally the responsibility of the HOA, then the city could come in and do it and assess those residents. Is that what your question was?
Yeah, and it was, I think when that person came in, it was also, is that portion of land actually private property or becomes part of the right of way of the roadway?
That specific question, I don't know the answer to. I would assume it's still communal property owned by the residents, but if no one's taking care of it, then the city could step in. It's basically, if it was originally the HOA's responsibility, the city could come in and do whatever's needed to repair or fix it, and then we'll assess the neighbors accordingly. And under that theory of liability, I would render the opinion that it's the neighborhoods, each property owner's joint responsibility and ownership, not the city's. Because they're ultimately responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of that.
Are we talking about that center median that separates this lake, the HOA, that center section that separates the street?
Yeah, but we have, there's other HOAs, but that was the example that the person asked, yeah.
If that's the case, they're not taking care of it. Can the city just wipe it out and pave it?
I would have to research that. So admittedly, I don't know that answer.
I don't think the city should take on the responsibility of weeding it and taking care of it and doing all that. So I'd like to know that answer.
Okay, yeah, and like I said, if the city does do it, we would then bill every resident. Yeah. That administrative cost. Yep.
I have one more question. Somebody asked me this and I don't know the answer to it. So with the sewer work, each owner's being assessed on a per unit basis. And somebody asked the question, well, can road repairs be done in such a manner as well?
No.
Because it's not a public health type of situation, or no, and then
the road, no, the sewers are for specific residents. The roads are the public, the right of way.
all right, fair enough. Thank you.
I also, if I can jump in there for a second, I don't think you can assess somebody for a piece of infrastructure that's already there. Right? So if there were failing sanitary sewers in the Old Town area, you could not assess the people for the rehab because the service already exists. Sound right, Matt?
Yes, sir.
So if this sewer line that's going to go in, I guess it has a service life of 80 to 100 years, right? Down the road, a rehab is needed. There was no assessment again.
Correct.
Same
Wow,
with the
that's good.
roadways.
And the same with the
Same with
roadway.
roadways. They got
That's interesting. Thank you. So since we have Aqua Water, because that's private, that's looked at differently because, our rates keep moving substantially up, but it's for repair.
Right, and the same would go for an existing sewer line, water main, storm sewer line, right? The water and sanitary sewer, the ratepayers are paying for that service, and there should be a component of that fee that goes to maintenance and repair, not just treating the water or supplying the water.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Mayor?
Chief Hutton, did you have a report beyond the, not to put you on the
Not
spot?
really.
and if- Okay, that's fine.
Actually,
I don't wanna skip you.
couple things. Our 3 new full-time firefighters, all of them did start in January. So they're all assigned to different shifts right now. Obviously, we've got big changes taking place at the fire department with Captain Bodie's retirement, with new firefighters coming in, and we're looking forward to, what the future holds. We've got some really good guys to get started with us. That's pretty much all I have. I'm open for any questions.
Mr. Council President, I had one other addition that I'm realizing Lewis is in here. We got an email today from the bond council that like the 2023 series, we could expect to see that on the next agenda as well. He set out a timeline of events. They're looking to complete the closeout of the series 23 notes mid-April on the 19th. So they're looking for it to go on first reading on the 22nd, the second reading on March 6th, the third one on the 20th. So that's their anticipated schedule. So you could expect to see the annual bond go forward on our agenda coming up too.
All right, thank you. Mayor Potter?
All right, thanks again, Council President Rupel. Again, congratulations to Sergeant Michael Martin and Captain Bodie. One is obviously a new endeavor in terms of his career here in Kirtland, and then the thanks for service to Captain Bodie for his long tenure here and all that he's done. Finance Director did take the night off, not from working, but from here at the council meeting, to keep plugging away at the city budget that he's been working on. So he'd asked me earlier today, he said he's kind of on a roll with the work he's doing. So he and I will have a meeting here, at least a phone call, I think Wednesday, and then we'll be meeting with all the department heads on starting Saturday morning. So looking forward to that. And then Lewis also did ask that we make sure we schedule a finance committee meeting for 6 o'clock on what's the date, the 22nd? The meeting of the 22nd. So, of course, depending on projected revenue, our debt paydowns, personnel, expenses, we're going to be balancing once again, capital needs against our ongoing road and drainage needs, which those have not changed except for, probably we'll find out soon that more roads are in more disrepair after another winter with a lot of freezing and thawing. So I'll be working with Mr. Courtney and Finaro. We'll be meeting tomorrow to have a further conversation on drainage and roads. And then we've been working with Eddie Eckert and Ms. Dimitro on the comp plan. So that'll go before planning and zoning next week. And that is a public hearing, if I'm correct, Mr. Lalla and Ms. Raleigh. So that'll be on planning and zoning's agenda next week, and then it'll come before City Council in March, I suppose. Eddie's been working with Mr. Lalla and myself on a few potential economic development projects. Like anything else, these things take time, and it's been some interesting discussions. Fairsight Technologies, I think hopefully at the next meeting we'll see I would assume a resolution related to a broadband request for proposal that Fairsight has developed. I sent it to Mr. Loby and Lallo for their review. And then in terms of legislation, I know that we'll want to pass the NOPEC grant legislation this evening. Make sure we get that on the books and give us the ability to collect that money and work it into the budget. Other than that, I am open for questions. Teresa, did I miss anything? Okay.
Questions for the mayor? All right. Moving on then. Any standing committee reports? I think we have any.
Everybody's okay with 6 o'clock next?
6 o'clock the 22nd?
Yeah.
Is that one place for most of the day in church though?
Okay.
All right. Correspondence, I don't have any correspondence. All right, up to public comments on matters not on the agenda. Hand wave said no. Okay, old business, public comments on the business. Again, nope.
If you'd like to, but you can take it to a third reading if you wish.
Yeah.
As of right now, it seems to have been resolved, so we've been able to work some things out.
Moving on to new business, public comments on agenda items of new business. No, okay, no public comments on agenda items of new business. All right, resolution number 23-R-4, resolution authorizing the closeout of the contract with, I'm sorry, is it Barbicus? Is that how you say that? Barbicus, I'm sorry. Barbicus Construction, Inc. for its work on sections 1 through 3A of the 2022 pavement rehabilitation project and declaring an emergency. And I believe this is something that is supposed to be passed tonight.
Second.
Motion to waive the 3 readings by Councilman Lowry, seconded by Councilman Smolik. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Rupel?
Yes.
Mr. Schulz?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Motion to declare an emergency and adopt.
Second. I have a question and just,
Motion by Councilman Smolik, seconded by Councilman Ziegler. Any discussion?
I guess I should have said this before we went to the 3 reading thing, but I don't think it matters. Just wanted council to perhaps consider amending it just to add reference to 22R44, which was the resolution that authorized Barbicus in the first place for the $1,299,571.65. It's just more of a closing the loop on the initial authorization, and then we're following up to closing it out and savings, so, because it's not really spelled out there. And then to dovetail it, I guess we had 22R18 that was a resolution for Courtney's fees, and then 22R44 also referenced construction inspection fees, and I didn't know if we were going to see a roll-up of the construction inspection fees as well as a ordinance, but I guess that's something to consider later.
I know, I guess I'd have to maybe ask direction from Mr. Lau on this.
I mean, it could always be amended to include that, but there's no need that it be amended to include that.
'Cause this is just,
This resolution is simply saying we've previously entered into a contract with them for X amount of dollars. After the approval of this change order, it's reducing that contract an amount to whatever that number is, and this contract is officially closed out. We don't necessarily need the original resolution. I mean, for future reference, I can make sure we include that if you'd like. I have no problem doing that. But it's not a need for this resolution.
I tend to agree going forward then. I think it should close the loop. If we don't necessarily make the change on this one, if we said it was going to be 1.5 and it came in 1.3, we should just reference the original resolution, just to tighten it up, that's all. But I don't think we need to make the change on this one.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
So long as we're getting money back each time we do it, that's fine and dandy.
Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Lowry,
Yes.
Mr. Rupel,
Yes.
Mr. Schulz,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
All right, thank you. Ordinance number 23-0-5, an ordinance authorizing all actions necessary to accept Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council, otherwise known as NOPEC, 2023 Energize Community Grant and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Motion to waive the 3 readings by Councilman Lowry, seconded by Councilman Fenstermaker. Is there any discussion on the motion to waive 3 readings? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Lowry,
Yes.
Mr. Rupel,
Yes.
Mr. Schulz,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Motion to declare an emergency and adopt.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Smolik, seconded by Councilman Fenstermaker. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Lowry,
Yes.
Mr. Rupel,
Yes.
Mr. Schulz,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Mr. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
All right, moving on to sorry, the mic cut out there for a second. I know Denise sent a very important reminder. This is just a reminder to my fellow council members. Filing deadline of Monday, May 15th, 2023 for your annual Ohio Ethics Commission filing deadline. And I don't have any other council comments. Does anybody else? Continuing concerns from members of the public? Hearing none, okay. We're on to adjournment. Looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Schultz. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Smolik. All in favor?
Aye.